In this video, I'm going to compare the Western Mountaineering Antelope sleeping bag with the Western Mountaineering Versalite sleeping bag. These are two different bags in two different series in the Western Mountaineering group of products in the sleeping bags that they make. Now, before I get started, full disclosure. I am not sponsored by Western Mountaineering. I don't receive money from Western Mountaineering to do these reviews or anything like that. I've bought these expensive bags with my own money, so you know that this video is hopefully truthful for you and it's not tainted by, oh, here, let's make our product sound good. So in this video, what I'm going to do is compare and contrast the different features of the bag or the bags and why you might choose one over the other. Before I go on, make sure to check out Adventure Expedition 1. This is my book on how to adventure, explore, and enjoy your time in the outdoors, and I talk a lot about sleeping bags and sleeping bag choices in this book. So let's get right down to it. Let's check out some of the data between the two bags. The Antelope has 7 inches of loft. So that means if you mush this bag, it's supposed to have 7 inches of thick loft. My experience has been it's actually a little bit thicker, but that's me. Compare that to the Versalite, that only has 6 inches of loft. The Antelope Microfiber is officially rated down to 5 degrees Fahrenheit. The Versalite is rated down to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So both good cold weather bags. They're both within 5 degrees of each other. However, the Antelope has 26 ounces of 900 fill down. I think it's 900, yeah, that's where they say, versus the Versalite, which has only 20 ounces of down fill. The Antelope bag is 2 pounds, 7 ounces. The Versalite is only 2 pounds. So that is a substantial difference. Looking at the weight of the fill, the Antelope has about 30% more fill than the Versalite. So that's the first major difference between the bags. The second major difference between the bags is the fabric. The fabric, the microfiber fabric on the Antelope, as you can see here, is about a mid-weight fabric. It's decently tough. I haven't actually damaged anything yet on mine. The Versalite is made with this extremely light fabric. It's much more shiny. It's a little bit more crinkly. So that is another factor as well. Now, as far as waterproofing, if you get either bag wet, you're toast, because these aren't Gore Windstop bags, which are much more water repellent. If you end up pouring water on your bag, it doesn't matter whether you have the Versalite or the Antelope, you're going to get soaked. So now let me show you the structural features of the Western Mountaineering Antelope bag here. I have a left zip, and I prefer the left zip even though I'm right-handed because of how I roll out of the tent, where my tent door is, and how I usually handle things. So this bag for me actually works better as a left-handed bag. Your mileage may vary. Now, you can see this has a 7/8 length bag, a zipper. The zipper does not go all the way down to the foot box, which is nice in either the Antelope or the Versalite, because if you have a zipper that goes all the way down, chances are you're going to get a cold spot in the foot bag, or in the foot box. So I definitely like that Western Mountaineering did not put zippers all the way down there. Because you say, oh, I need to get out of my bag, like, look, dude, you could always put your foot right out of your bag there, so that's easy enough. This bag has an expedition weight baffle on the zipper, and what this baffle does is it prevents cold air from drafting into the bag. Now, the nice thing about the Antelope is it has tape on the baffle here, but it also has tape on the non-baffle side as well. And what this stiffener tape does is it helps prevent the sleeping bag from snagging on the inside. However, my experience has been, in any sleeping bag I've ever owned, that the zipper does not get stuck on the inside, the zipper gets stuck on the outside. And if you watch to the end of the video, I'll show you the trick of how to prevent your zipper from getting stuck almost at any time. The next feature in the Western Mountaineering Antelope is it has a full neck baffle collar where you can actually put this around your neck in the sleeping bag, and you unvelcro this and you velcro it here, and now I can actually draw cord the neck area so it completely chokes me out. But what it does is it prevents cold air from getting into the sleeping bag. The Versalite always has this option as well. So that is a nice feature that you get with the Versalite, is you get expedition quality material, but maybe a little bit lighter weight. Now this also has the standard draw cord where you can put this simply around your head and draw the sleeping bag closed, and you end up breathing out of a porthole. The next feature about the Antelope that I really like is it's good and wide for me. Now I'm 6 foot and 165, 170 pounds, depending on the time of year. And when I zip this bag up, you can see that it fits my body pretty well, but I still have room. Also, just like I talked about in Adventure Expedition 1 of how to fit your sleeping bag, that information is in there as well. Links below in the description. I always get a sleeping bag that is 6 inches longer, about 15 centimeters longer than I am, or tall, because I need to have room for my bag, my clothes, all sorts of gear in here. And it makes a big difference in my experience, because if your sleeping bag is too tight, you're going to have problems. So this Antelope bag is really quite comfortable, super spacious and roomy. I can foof it up. I've got a little bit of space there. Now, as far as the specifications, the 6'6" bag versus between the Versalite and the Antelope, both are 63-inch shoulder. Hip is 54-inch, and the foot area is 39-inch. So interestingly, they are the same dimensions. So I'm going to check out the Versalite bag now, show you some of the features, and come back to the Antelope bag and finish with the discussion and my trick on how to zip your zipper up without snagging it. Okay, so really the most unique difference between the Antelope and the Versalite is simply the fabric and the amount of loft in the bag. As you can see the data that I'm putting on the screen, the loft in the Versalite is very close to the loft in the Antelope. The big difference is the fabric. This Extremelite fabric is, well, lighter than the microfiber used in the Antelope, but it's held up quite well in the usage. The bag ratings I put on the screen here so you can see it, but in the Versalite bag, Western Mountaineering for their ultralight series has this extra generous baffle that goes along the zipper, and then it also comes with a neck baffle which makes this bag expedition friendly, even though it's only rated to about 10 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever it has. And see here, this neck baffle actually puts you in the category of, hey, you could take this out to some extremely chilly temperatures. 10 degrees is pretty cold camping. I wouldn't take this bag out, hey, it's going to get to 10 degrees and this is what I'm going to take. I'd say, hey, it might be 20 degrees and the Versalite bag is a very good choice. But it has an extra generous hood area and a nice seam tape here so the zipper doesn't get hung up. And also you can see this thicker seam tape here, the zipper won't get hung up either, but you can see the sheen on the bag. It's a very different fabric than that microfiber. It almost feels waxy. So this Versalite bag, as you'll see, I'm going to jump into the bag real quick. I'm 6'6" tall, or I'm 6 feet tall. The bag is 6'6" long, and you can see that there's plenty of space so I can put my clothes, my gear, or whatever. And I seal this thing up, and that neck baffle can go around my neck, kind of choke me out. But really, this bag, the Versalite, if you get a good deal on it, is really good The Versalite bag, if you actually get a good deal on it, has all the features of an expedition bag because of this neck baffle, the extra generous design. So really, between the Antelope and the Versalite, they're very comparable. But for the basic structure of the bag, the Versalite is a real winner here. So definitely gives you some options. So there's virtually no difference. Plus they have the continuous baffle system, both in the Versalite and the Antelope. So if you need to fluff down to put it on your chest or cool the bag down, that continuous baffle system across the bag is a real sweet deal. So you've seen the different features of the Versalite bag and the Antelope bag. Now the big thing is, how do you choose between them? Well, between the microfiber and the Extremelite fabric, if you are a little bit rougher on your sleeping bag, I'd recommend the Antelope because the microfiber is a little bit tougher. It's still a very delicate fabric to me. I've never wanted to really crank on it because I don't want to tear open an $800 sleeping bag. But if you're a little bit tougher on things and you want a little bit more silent experience, Antelope microfiber is a better choice. If you want a slightly lighter sleeping bag, the Versalite, can't go wrong with that. 7 ounces can make a big difference in your backpacking and adventuring experience. The biggest difference is simply the cost. Even though with this extra tape, that is a nice feature. I'll show you my trick in a moment. But if you had to choose between the two and they're comparably priced, certainly get the Antelope. But if you can get the Versalite for super cheap on sale, I would totally get that bag as well and be completely happy with it simply because it's super comparable in performance. I would be happy with either, even though I wouldn't take this bag to Denali. It is not warm enough. You need a -20 rated bag to go to Denali. But this bag went with me to Kilimanjaro. And I think I took this bag to, I took this bag to Elbrus in Russia, the tallest mountain as well. And I also took this bag to Greenland to trek across the Greenland tundra in the Arctic. That was not a good choice, but I had to backpack it. So the Antelope for me worked super well in September and October in Greenland in the Arctic. So think about that. Yeah, I was a little cold. So the whole thing about this is the extra little tape is nice here. The extra downfill is nice. If the price is comparable, I would say get the Antelope. But if you get some super sale on the Versalite, you can't go wrong there as well. And now I'm going to show you how I zip up my sleeping bag to generally prevent snags from happening. Instead of, when you're in your sleeping bag, of pulling the zipper from the bottom, get your feet all the way to the bottom, and pulling the zipper from the inside, which is actually very difficult to do because the sleeping bag will tend to open up and it makes it harder to zip up, is what I do is I actually zip the sleeping bag from the outside, pull the zipper slightly away, and that virtually always guarantees that I do not snag the fabric. Now, have I snagged the fabric before? You betcha. But by pulling on the outside zipper, so slightly annoying, it actually works far better than if you pull the zipper from the inside. So that is my super secret trick. See, I'm really kind of struggle here because the seam tape actually closes this bag so well. I've gotten the natural habit of over 20 years of unzipping my bag from the outside. Again, check out the description below on Adventure Expedition 1, the link to it, so you can check out a book on how to choose your sleeping bags, how to figure out between Western Mountaineering or North Face or Marmot or whatever, or Feathered Friends are great bags too, of how to do that. My name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and professional adventurer. Please like and comment on the video and subscribe to the channel if you found it useful. Thank you very much and happy sleeping in your cold adventures.